Hey guys, welcome to Gadgets 360, and today I will be taking a first look at the brand new Oppo F17 Pro. That's right, Oppo has launched its brand new F17 series, and being part of the F series, as you know, this is all about the cameras, and well, this one is no different. So the F17 series includes the Oppo F17 as well as the F17 Pro, which is the one I have here. Now I have been spending a few days with this phone, so let's take an early quick look at what's so special about this brand new model. Now before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and also hit that bell icon so you're the first to be notified whenever we push out a new video. Now as you can see, I've already taken the phone out of the box, but for those who are curious, let's quickly take a look at what you get when you buy the F17 Pro. The packaging is pretty simple, so there's not much to talk about here. Now, inside we are first greeted by the F17 Pro in this magic blue color. Now, digging in further, we have the usual accessories such as the SIM eject tool, there's a silicone case, a wired headset, and the 30-watt charger, and finally the USB cable. Okay, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's take a closer look at the phone itself. And the first thing that's really going to grab your attention, and at least it did mine, is how slim and light the phone is. So the F17 Pro weighs just about 164 grams and it measures about 7.48 millimeters in thickness. So it's pretty slim and it's quite light. Now, I'm quite happy the direction Oppo has taken. We recently also saw this slimness and lightness in the Oppo Reno 4 Pro. Of course, that was priced a lot higher, and I'm glad to see more such phones from the company as well. Let's take a quick physical tour of the phone. So here is what the F17 Pro looks like. Now, the color that I have is what Oppo calls magic blue, but there are also two other colors available. You also get it in a matte black, and there's also a metallic white. Now, the frame is mostly plastic around, and at the back as well you have this matte plastic finish. It feels good, it's a little smooth, and it doesn't attract too many fingerprints, which is always a good thing. Now over to the right of the phone we have the power button, and over to this side we have the volume buttons. There's not much on the top except for a microphone, and last but not least we have the USB port, we have the headphone socket, and we have the speaker. Now, dominating the front is a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED display. It gets pretty bright, the colors are fairly good. It has a full HD resolution, so icons and text generally look pretty sharp. And as you can see, the bezels are quite slim as well around it, except for the chin, which is slightly thick. But that's okay, it's not a big deal. But what I really like is how slim the hole punch cutout is. So as you can see, we have a dual hole punch cutout for two selfie cameras in the front, and we'll talk about this in just a bit. Now, a couple of things I wish were present which are not is that, first of all, it's only a 60 Hz panel, so unfortunately you don't get that high refresh rate like 90 or a 120 Hz on the F17 Pro. And secondly, despite it being AMOLED display, there is no HDR specification, which is not a big deal breaker, I would say, but it would have been nice to have. Now, this also means that apps like Netflix will not be able to play back shows in HDR, which is a bit of a bummer. However, on the plus side, being an AMOLED panel, you do get an in-display fingerprint sensor, and it seems to work pretty well so far. Authentication is fairly quick. All you need is a quick firm tap on the display and it unlocks. Now we'll talk about the processor in just a bit, but first let's get to the main highlight feature of the phone. And you know, being an F series phone, it is of course the cameras. Now Oppo has not really held back over here. The F17 Pro has a total of 6 cameras, so you get 2 in the front and you have a total of 4 at the back over here. So let's just tackle the ones that are at the back. So the main camera is a 48 megapixel sensor one of the ones on the top over here. It has an aperture f1.8. The second one is an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera for those, good landscape shots if you just want to get more of the scene in the frame. The third and the fourth camera down below are 2 megapixel sensors. So one of the 2 megapixel sensor is a monochrome sensor, and from what I'm aware of, or based on my usage so far, it seems to work when you use one of the black and white filters in the camera app. And finally, the fourth camera at the back is another 2 megapixel sensor, and this is a depth camera. So this is going to be used essentially when you're using portrait mode. Now let's quickly jump to the front cameras. So in the front, we have two of them, as you can see. The primary one is a 16 megapixel sensor for selfies, and the second one is a 2 megapixel depth camera. So technically this should give you better portrait selfies for better edge detection and better background blurring. But again, I'll have to test this out fully to see if this really makes any difference or not. Okay, so let's talk about the processor. So the F17 Pro uses a MediaTek Helio P95 chipset. Now this is an octa-core SoC, and we recently saw this on the Oppo Reno 3 Pro. Now, so far, from what I've been using, the F17 Pro has performed pretty well. I mean, the OS is fairly snappy, things load quickly, and multitasking is fairly quick too. Now, there's only one variant of the F17 Pro available in India, which has 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. However, you can expand this storage thanks to the micro SD card slot. There is a dedicated slot in the SIM tray for a micro SD card, and you can also have 2 SIMs simultaneously. Now, last but not least, the F17 Pro runs on ColorOS 7.2, which is based on Android 10. The features are mostly similar to what we've seen recently on the Oppo Reno 4 Pro, so not a lot has changed over there. Finally, the phone also supports fast charging, so you get a 4000 mAh battery inside, and with support for 30-watt fast charging. Of course, the charger is bundled in the box as well. So that was my first look at the brand new Oppo F17 Pro. Let me know what you think about this phone in the comments below. Stay tuned for the full review coming soon only on Gadgets 360.